What's good, everybody? So, I just want to talk about the concept, philosophical concept. I guess it is kind of scientific too. Time travel, because time is in science. Now, I was thinking, bro, you know how like they say time travel in the past is kind of impossible, right? You can't really do it. But they say time travel in the future is very possible. But see, in the past, I can see why they say it's impossible, because think about it. Let's say we build a time machine in the year 3026 or 4029. Let's say 4029, 2,000 years from now, right? You would think somebody in that year right now, 4029, we're not there yet. But of course, the future is still there. You would think they would have built some type of time machine 2,000 years in the future if we can do it 2,000 years in the future. You know what I'm saying? We build a time machine today. You would think a nigga already would have done it thousands of years in the future. So why haven't they came back here yet? Is my thing. So that kind of makes me doubt time travel, because you would think somebody would have visited us by now. But then you have some people who claim they have came from the future. But then, of course, we do our little research. We think skeptically, critically. And then it turns out that either these guys are just lying, they're frauds, or they have some type of mental illness, like schizophrenia or something. So we've never yet to even experience a true time traveler. Now you got, the little videos on YouTube where, somehow the timeline has changed, where people are talking on a cell phone, but cell phones didn't exist, back in the 30s. It was some video. Then you got some guy, I remember it was a picture, he had some modern fucking like printed shirt like mine. And they said, well, he probably traveled there, but you know what I'm saying? That's all speculation. No one really knows. Then you got people who have, they got a picture of Jay-Z, some dude who looks just like Jay-Z, and said Jay-Z's a time traveler. What would make more sense is that, because one, we have evidence for reincarnation, Dr. Ian Stevenson, look him up. But we have evidence for reincarnation. And two, it would make sense that that is a case of reincarnation. Just because of the fact there's more evidence for reincarnation than there's time travel. Of course, we got thousands of cases where kids have said, I was this person, and that person turned out to exist in the exact same way the kids described it. But, that's a whole nother story. But anyway, like I was saying, you would have thought, though, you would have think somebody would have traveled back here. But, like I said, maybe they traveled to 2023 or 2024 or something like that. They haven't traveled to 2019. Of course, if they travel older than that, what I'm saying, we would have seen them then. Like, let's say they travel to, let's say right now in the future, they choose to travel to 1865 and announce themselves as a time traveler. The timeline would change. And when the timeline changes, we would know. So we would, I don't know how it would, because if it were to happen right now, it's not like, it's kind of like the information would just pop up in our heads. Pretty much, because that's kind of how timeline changes work, philosophically. Now I'm saying, or what could happen is that person in 4029 right now could travel back in time to, let's say, like 1776. I think that's when the 4th of July thing happened. I don't know. My history brain's kind of fried right now because I'm tired. So yeah, let's say he does that, and let's say he goes to George Washington and talk to him, right? What could happen is a whole other universe is made there, so he can go back to the future, and pretty much the whole timeline has changed, but it's not our timeline; it's their timeline. It's a different universe. Now that's a different way of thinking time travel. You know what I'm saying? You could think, well, when you go back to the past and go in the future, you create another universe, or you can think, well, if I go back in the past, change something, my current timeline has changed. Like kind of like if I go back in time and kill myself, right? If I did that and I go back in the future, I get erased from existence, obviously. The moment I shoot myself, my past self, I'm dead. You know what I'm saying? Well, let's say, a past me, 12-year-old me, right? Remember my videos? He comes here right now and stabs the shit out of me. That means that 12-year-old, when he go back in the past, that's how he's gonna die. And you know what I'm saying? That creates a loop. Like, 12-year-old me comes here. I'm dead. He goes back to the past to his present time. He's going to come here, sit in this moment, make this exact same video. And the 12-year-old him is going to reappear right there. And it's going to loop, loop, loop. It's an infinite loop of this motherfucker's getting killed. The only way to break that loop is, I'm guessing he would have the knowledge that his 12-year-old self did it. Let's say he had the knowledge. And the moment his 12-year-old self comes out of a breach and kills me, I'm the 12-year-old self. He tries to kill me, and I stop myself from killing me. And I kill the 12-year-old self, and that breaks the fucking loop. He can't go back to his time now, and now he's just sitting on my floor dead. And I don't know if he fades from existence because he's not really supposed to be here because I'm here. I don't know what happens to that dead one. And let's just say, what if he grew up to be someone else? You know what I'm saying? That's when time travel gets crazy. We can't really explain that. And like I said, it's all theoretical, hypothetical, philosophical, because we can't test none of this shit because we don't have a fucking time machine. We don't know what happens if you travel in time. Nobody knows. You can't really know. We don't have a time machine yet. But timeline is interesting. I mean, time travel is interesting, you know, honestly. I wasn't really interested until I started watching Flash, honestly. I know some people probably watch Back to the Future. But when you watch the show Flash, that motherfucking Barry time travels a lot. And one time he fucked his timeline up pretty tragically in the show. I mean, there's no spoiler. That happened seasons ago, honestly. So I'm not spoiling shit for y'all. Then Cisco's brother died. But anyway, yeah, you know what I'm saying? Think about it. Look up time travel. It's a very, very interesting subject. You know what I'm saying? But like I said, I don't know if we can travel back to the past, because you would expect that somebody would have done it already. But no one hasn't. Or maybe they have and they didn't tell nobody. You know what I'm saying? Like probably the Mandela effect. You know, when people thought there was a fucking dash in between the Kit Kats, or people thought that Bernstein was Bernstein. Or when people thought that Curious George had a fucking tail, and he never did have a tail. Or when people thought there was no dash in between Coca-Cola. So, yeah, maybe the Mandela effect. Or like when people thought Mandela died in the 90s, and he died in the 2000s. Or was it the 80s? I'm not sure. But see, how even the Mandela effect is weird. Maybe even deja vu has something to do with time travel. Who the fuck knows? Look it up, though. It's interesting.